Okay, so we're back with the snowblower. As you can see, I cleaned all the carbon off the top of the piston. All I did for that, I just rotate the engine like this. Make sure you're rotating it up to the top. And then once it's rotated to the top, take a drill and a wire brush. Not too thick of a wire brush, but not, thick enough to get the carbon off, but not too thick because it's only aluminum piston, and with steel bristles it will chew in there real fast and stuff. So, just a thin wire brush, and then clean it off. I do it all the time. This snowblower is actually only 2005, and of course, only gets used once a year. And where I live, we actually don't get much snow, so I'm sure the guy didn't use it much. This year we got quite a bit, and we're getting another snowstorm tonight, so it's going to be a pretty nasty one. So let's see if I can get this thing back together, and then I call the guy up and come pick up his snowblower. We have a Kubota tractor to plow our driveway, and then a snow shovel for our walkways, which is okay. Just a few things, remember which way the rods are. So I set this one here, that one here. Usually I'd mark them with some tape, whichever one's the exhaust one, but I just set them on here and just told myself I wasn't going to touch them. And the head gasket came in the mail. Here it is. And the the part number is 791716. And I went onto the Briggs and Stratton website and looked up the part number. You can also order them off the Briggs and Stratton website. But I actually got this on eBay. Just typed in the part number, then head gasket, and then these came up. And you usually can find it cheaper. Reason being is because it's a little easier to buy parts off eBay as long as you have the right part number and stuff. And always make sure you have warranty and buyer protection on eBay, especially if you're buying parts for someone else. So here's the head. I also cleaned that up. I just wire brush. It's not as clean as I can make it. I could actually even make it polished and stuff, but this isn't a performance vehicle or anything like that. It's just a snowblower. So cleaned that off. I always clean the carbon when you get in there because carbon can actually break off and damage your engine. So it's always important to clean it up. This one wasn't badly carboned. I technically didn't have to, but I always like to do it either way. And you can see the head gaskets are both the same. Even bring them up on you. So I'm thinking probably the easiest way they're going to do this is to put the head on first, and then I'll put those lifters down in there after that, and then I'll probably have to loosen these up, but I think it'll be easier than fighting with that to get that straight again. So just set the gasket down on like that. Make sure that these dowel pins are in here. These dowel pins have to be in here. It doesn't matter if they're on that side or this side, but they must be in here. Head bolts will not hold this head centered. They'll only clamp it down, but they will not keep it centered. These precisionally align the head with the engine, so it's very important that these dowel pins are in there. So always make sure that they're in there and not that they fell out. Head is on now. All we need to do is put the bolts in. Now I'm not going to make these tight. Just get them down on there till they sit flat on there. And always use a crisscross pattern. So if I did this one here, then I do this one next. And if I do this one here, which is what will be the next one, then I'll do that one next. That way the head doesn't... Because if you tighten down these two here, the head will actually sit flat up against here, but it won't sit on there. And a lot of times what happens is the gasket will also sit unevenly, but also the head can actually be warped. It's just, it really wouldn't matter if you tightened this one. It wouldn't hurt anything if you accidentally did that, tighten that one. But it's just good practice to always use a crisscross pattern on these. Alright, so got all the bolts just snugged down. Now we're going to torque them. So, if you look on here, this camera is really crappy, but here's a torque wrench here. And there's adjustments on here. As you can see, there's lines that go up here. This is foot-pounds, so it goes up to 5 to, what's that, 80. On here, there's a dial. And this dial here is, is to adjust it. So let's say we have the line set on, as you can see, it goes up into 5-step intervals here. So it goes up to, let's say, 40, 45, 50, like that. Well, what you do is, see how this goes up to 4 here? This is between the area in between. So let's say, instead of, you know how it goes up to 40 to 45, well, let's say I wanted, I don't know, just say I wanted 42. Well, then I just turn that over to 2, and while it's still in between the line of 45, and that way you can get it in between. And that was kind of a bad explanation. We're going to start with 10 foot-pounds, and then we're going to go up to about 20. And just when you do it, all you do is use a crisscross pattern, but you tighten her down until she clicks. Alright, then do the next one. And I'm torquing with 20 foot-pounds. The original setting was 10, so I went 10 first, then do 20. And in the same pattern that I torqued it down to 10 foot-pounds. There we go. And you just do it till it clicks down. Alright, so the head is on. So now it's just time to put the rest back together, put the push rods in and stuff, and trying to get this thing to run again. So tune into the next part.